Why do you trust your textbooks so much? How have you come to rely on them to give you factual and enlightening information? How about those newspaper articles that you love to quote to your friends and family? Well, those are examples of informative writing. Informative writing, also known as expository writing, uses evidence and information from trustworthy sources to support a well developed explanation of a given topic. Do you have more examples coming to mind now? The content of your chemistry textbook about the characteristics of matter. That newspaper article about the effect of pollution. That travel brochure entry about the sandy beaches of Aruba, and so on. Now, note how I have used the words information, evidence, trustworthy, and explanation in that definition. These words make it clear that when you write informative essays, you have to present the information in a factual, logical, and objective way. Your ability to do this successfully will depend very much on the choice of words and grammatical structure that features in your essay. So, in this lesson, we will focus on the language features of informative writing. Informative essays are usually written in the present tense. This is because the information presented on the topic will normally be regarded as fixed or developing knowledge. Look at these sentences. Have you noticed that the actions in the sentences are conveyed in the present tense? Okay, secondly, informative writing demands that you use subject-specific vocabulary. What does that mean? Well, if you're writing an article about travel destinations in Nigeria, your choice of words would mostly be those used in the field of tourism, such as chains of hotels, concierge, recreation, entertainment districts, scenery, and so on. In other words, the topic of your essay will determine the choice of vocabulary that you would use. Also, your vocabulary should be at an appropriate level depending on the target audience of your writing. For example, an article that is meant for publication in a national newspaper would require higher level vocabulary. Next, informative essays are mostly written in passive voice. This is because passive voice keeps the focus on the object of the information being presented. Compare these sentences. Notice that it is the same information being conveyed, but in the second example, our focus is on the $10 million worth of property being destroyed rather than the floods. Finally, informative texts are generally written for a varied and impersonal audience, so it should maintain a formal tone. We have discussed how to create a formal tone in a previous lesson, and I would encourage you to watch it. But generally, informal structures like slangs, colloquial language, and contractions should be avoided. To conclude, it is important to consider language features when writing informative essays because you do not want your readers to misinterpret your essay as a descriptive essay or an informal letter. So let's recap on what we've learned today. Informative essays should be written in present tense. Your choice of vocabulary should be specific to the topic of the essay, and it should be at the appropriate level for the target audience. Passive voice is usually more effective in drawing attention to important aspects of the essay. The essay should have a formal and objective tone. See you in our next lesson.